Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
Coming at you for, hold on for it, hold your applause, please, the 200th episode of the Super License F1 podcast. Woo, boo, boo. Boo, 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 we made it, Zach. People said we shouldn't do it. People said we couldn't do it, but we've done it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of chat about these guys. They won't go 2 episodes, let alone 20 episodes. And here we are at 10 times. Here we are with 10 times that.
10 times that, no.
At 10
100 times that.
No, 10 times the 20. You know what? Maths is never my strong point. I don't even know. In my mind, Giovinazzi is winning the world championship right now because my maths is so bad.
We need to do exactly 2 things before we start talking about the race. We need to celebrate our 200th episode and we need to talk about news. You just mentioned Giovinazzi though, so should we just drop those things in here?
Yeah, just drop them in, mate. Not going to be a Formula 1 driver, most likely. 2022, our old mate Antonio Giovinazzi, the only Italian driver
for him to
in
go.
Formula 1.
Oh, gosh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
There used to be at least 2, but I don't think there is anymore.
No. So no Italians at
that's
Ferrari.
sad.
No Italians in a Ferrari sponsored team. Wonder how Ferrari feel about that. But as he said in a parting word, that basically it's tough in Formula 1 and money talks. Which, yes.
Also,
true.
he did not do that well.
Yeah, exactly. You're also
There's
not
also that.
amazing. And Valtteri Bottas is pretty good. And I don't think he brings a huge amount of cash with him. I don't think Valtteri Bottas is necessarily a paid driver. And then you've also got who essentially Giovinazzi is being replaced by, which is Zhao, who is the I think Formula 1 are reporting it as the first
Chinese driver.
Reporting it as in the news, but first full F1 Chinese driver. It being the news, him being the person.
Yes,
which is amazing. Good for China,
amazing.
good for him. And he's very good,
I have to watch some YouTube videos to work out how to say his name. I think Zhao. Very, very close to his surname. Guan Yu. He seems to like to go by Guan, so he can say Guan Zhao.
Guan Zhao. Yeah.
I think that's pretty damn close. He'll be joining Valtteri Bottas at the Alfa Romeo team for 2022. That actually settles the whole grid. I was looking up today. There's 7 teams that are retaining the same driver lineup next year as they had this year. There's 2 teams that have got 1 driver switched, and then there's 1 team, which is Alfa Romeo, that's going to have 2 new drivers, including a rookie. So yeah, it's interesting stuff. But I mean, it's not necessarily the crazy pinball that we've had of previous years of drivers moving around and stuff. But look, it's settled. That's the whole game played out now. The other driver announcement, yes, go on.
I reckon during the coverage this weekend that Martin Brundle said Sonoda, the only rookie on the grid this year. And I was like, isn't Mazepin a rookie too? I'm sure he is. Was I going crazy? Yeah.
Oh man. I hate the pandemic. Wasn't he on the grid last year?
Was he? Really? Fuck. Maybe he was.
I don't know. Man, 200 episodes, they all just bleed together.
It can't.
We've had a lot of races this year. One of us has to Google it, man.
I'm good. I'm in the midst.
Okay.
Consider it Googled. Yeah,
Formula
1, he started in 2021.
Yep,
That's
okay,
Mazepin.
cool. And so did Schumacher, right? Because they started the same year. So there's 3 rookies.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the fuck Brundle was on about, but welcome to our Be Mean to the Commentators podcast.
That's what we're known for.
And you know what?
It might have been episodes building that reputation.
Yeah,
it could have been
exactly.
Croft. Boy, now who's the bad guy? Us or them? Really? The real bad guys, the friends that we made along the way. The other driver announcement that I want to get to, just before next thing you know, we're going to be 30 minutes into the show and we won't have started. Oscar Piastri, killing it in Formula 2, Aussie pride, Aussie grit, all the Aussie, etc. He has been confirmed as the reserve driver for Alpine next year, replacing Daniil Kvyat, their existing reserve driver. So that's good news if you're him, I guess, Oscar Piastri. Not so great news if you're Daniil Kvyat. I don't know what he's going to do. But it's a good move for him, and hopefully that is a step towards getting a drive somewhere in the coming years.
I always find that difficult, right? Because it feels like a step forward, but also you're not racing every week. Like Formula 2, you're like, I'm in it, I'm fighting, I could win things. Whereas reserve driver, you're like, I hope someone gets COVID so I can race this weekend. That's not to say that anybody would ever think that or would ever really hope for that. But, you're understudy. but you're not even part of the cast, really. You're just understudy. You get to go, you might do some simulator work, you'll be there, the cameras will capture you, and they'll be like, there's Oscar Piastri, reserve driver for Alpine, surely hoping and putting some pressure on Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. Like, is this just because they probably think Alonso's got one more season, maybe? I can imagine that Piastri might have been promised the Alonso seat. Maybe. No, not as far as you can promise someone that, but there's been a pretty clear pathway straight from Formula 2 recently into a Formula 1 seat.
That's true.
I feel like we've seen fewer go to reserve driver spots, Amir, we're talking Leclerc went straight from Formula 2 straight into Formula 1. Stroll went from Formula 3 into Formula 1. I suppose there's a different circumstance, but a lot of people, you win Formula 2 or you get close and then you're like, cool, there'll be a seat that opens up. I'm the next hot young thing. Put me in, coach, as opposed to kind of put me in, which is I'll be around like a bad smell every week.
Yeah.
Looking
at you. Me.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be eating all the food, but not doing any of the work.
That is all the news that's fit to print. And we don't even usually cover news, but it's when there's driver signings, we usually cover that sort of thing. The other thing that we need to do, though, before we get into the race is 200 episodes. I don't know if you've got your bottle of champagne there. I'm just going to crack my bottle open here to celebrate. By bottle of champagne, I mean a can of Canadian Club and Dry, but cheers, man. 200 episodes.
Oh, yeah. I will have some of this delicious filtered tap water.
You should do that. I did vow that we would mark the occasion in style, and I said that I was going to come up with something special, and I encourage you to do the same. I have some special audio that I'm going to be playing for you. How does that make you feel?
I think it makes me feel just fine.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm sort of also sizing you up in terms of like whatever your plans are, because I just don't want to just railroad over the top of you. But
I got a quiz. I got a fun quiz. I got a fun 200 episode
great.
quiz.
Then your stuff's coming later. I'll get ready for that.
My stuff's coming later. Good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what I'll do is I'll get into my special surprise. This is basically a gift for you and, by extension, the audience. Have you heard of this new episode called a new app called Phone? Phone. Phone.
No.
It's it's like F1, but it's spelt out Phone. It's kind of like Cameo, but it's for Formula 1, where you can put in a request and you get drivers or team principals and so on to record messages for you. It's pretty good. No. Definitely a legit thing. It's a real thing. And I just thought, I've got a bunch of them here. I got 8 for you. And I thought you might want to throw out some driver names or personalities, and I'll see if I've got those people who have sent us special messages for our 200th episode. So do you want to first cab off the rank? Who do you think? Like, have a guess.
Yeah. Oh, have you got a Daniel Ricciardo?
Bloody hell. I do have a Daniel Ricciardo. Listen to this.
Oh.
Yeah, g'day. Daniel Ricciardo here. Just, it says here on my screen that I've got to say to you, happy 200th episode of Super License Formula 1 podcast. So I've said it. There you go. Yeah. I don't know what you guys are. I don't know what you guys do. I don't know who you are, but I'm looking forward to learning about you guys. Am I allowed to swear on this thing? No? Okay. I can't swear. Yeah. Hey, Rod and Zach. A couple of dumb cunts.
Daniel Ricciardo, incredible. A special message just for us. Definitely legit. Richie did.
Oh, I mean, how much did that cost you? How much did that set you back? And is it coming out of the Super license budget?
I mean, it'd be gauche to talk about what I spent. Besides, I charged it all to the Patreon, so it doesn't matter. Ha! But, let's just say that some were more expensive and others were more affordable. So I splurged. That's how I got such a good spread. Not so many of the very expensive ones, but I got more of the, let's say I got a good rate on some of these.
Okay.
But I want to play, we'll play maybe another 3 of these, and I'll save some more for later in the show. But you got anyone else that you want to have a stab at? Who do you think I would have got?
You might have got a Kimi Räikkönen, possibly.
Oh, jeez, good. You're on a roll. He's Kimi Räikkönen.
Do I go? That thing says to go. Okay. Hi, I'm Kimi Räikkönen. Just wanted to say happy 200 episodes to Rod and Zach. That's all. I can stop. Hi, don't stop. Done. Fuck this.
Always on the job and professional, Kimi Räikkönen. Incredible stuff. Thank you, Kimi. I'm touched, Kimi. You took the time.
Took
the time.
God, I would have been able to pick that. Like, if you played that in any circumstance, I would have been able to guess that was Kimi Räikkönen.
Well, there you go. That's the caliber of messages that we got. I mean, do you want to have one? Maybe we've got two more. Do you want to throw another name at me?
Does the Bottas one? I'm guessing you didn't do Bottas. You didn't get Bottas because they already have like one fin on the app. So
it's one fin only. That's their policy.
Yeah, that's what happens.
It's weird, but I was like, I guess I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to have another.
So these all drivers, did you say team principals as well?
Oh, I did. Do you want to throw a name at me?
Did you get a Toto Wolff?
Oh, look, I could not possibly afford Toto. Well, I'm not made of money. Have another swing.
A Gunther Steiner?
No, not a Gunther Steiner. Too sweary. He's banned.
He was too sweary, too expensive. Oh, dear.
Well, he's not allowed on the app. He's permanently barred. He's been cancelled.
He's been cancelled. You know what? He'd probably be fine with that. I can imagine him on the phone to Gene Haas being like, cancelled.
He's like, it's great. I don't have to do it anymore.
I'm out. Christian Horner.
Big Daddy Christian Horner. Here we go.
Well, hello, Rod. Hello, Zach. It's Christian Horner here. Just wanting to say happy 200th episode. It's what a remarkable achievement, really. I mean, it's just so incredible and almost as good as something that Max Verstappen would do, my favorite son.
Of course.
200 episodes, well done. Boy, I've heard other F1 podcasts, but I tell you what, if all of them dropped their trousers and showed each other what they had, tell you boys, you would measure up very, very well. That's all. 200 more, I suppose. Not much more than that, though. You'll get tired. I'm funny. Christian Horner, bye.
So useful that they say their names at the end as well, so you remember who it is.
You got to. It's important that they say that.
Got to,
because it's for your audio. It makes it easy for you to quickly sort through the files when playing.
That's how I had to do it. That's exactly right. I think. I mean, Christian Horner. Did you think I would get Christian Horner? Unbelievable that we got him.
Yeah. No. I tell you what, he could. It's almost like. Yeah. He was reading for like a role in a Harry Potter movie. I've forgotten how wandering his British accent can be. He's a man without a place in the UK, but firmly from the UK. So good for Horny there.
He's always right there with just being British. I mean, sometimes he's even more British than you think. It's deceptive. Yeah. I'll cap us off. I'll cap us off with one more. This one was basically like, get Christian Horner, you get this guy for free. This is a former driver, Nico Rosberg.
Oh. Okay, so I just want to say hello, Rod. Hello, Zach. Amazing achievement to reach 200 episodes. Incredible. My God, yeah? And almost as amazing as, I beat Lewis to the World Championship, yeah? Can you imagine? That must feel so good to reach 200 episodes. I can't believe it. And you guys do podcasts? You talk Formula One? That's so awesome, man. Did you know that cars can run on batteries too? Incredible, yeah? Obviously. And so I beat Lewis to the championship. Happy day. Bye-bye.
Really works it in there.
You wouldn't even know that English was his second language, or maybe fifth.
His fifth language.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
that was amazing. I just don't know how Rosberg brings so much energy. To everything that he does.
What
do you reckon
is he
sits
so
down at
happy
breakfast and he's like, oh my God, pancakes. Yes, amazing. How did you know? What another great day.
Incredible. I love that. Yes.
Yeah, I ate pancakes the day after I beat Lewis Hamilton to the World Championship.
Yeah, you know who I fought, I cooked Lewis pancakes and I said, here you go, Lewis, here's your breakfast, you loser. And he was like, didn't want to eat it. He threw it back at me the way I threw that hat at him. That's what he told me.
At him, of course. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Is that the most memorable interaction between Rosberg and Hamilton? Is that the one that's going to be played out? Do we get the behind the scenes camera in the green room anymore? We don't, do we? We get the interviews post race and then they disappear, and then we get the podium.
No, it's a good call. I did used to like watching it, but then there was a while where it was very, very quiet and it didn't make great television. So yeah, maybe they've just decided to can that. I don't know.
Maybe it's just because those same three drivers saw each other every single week, both the pre-race, post-race, and in the green room. They're like, we've run out of things to say to each other. Like,
It also used to be like the point where they would see each other sometimes for the very first time, but now that kind of happens down on the grid when they do those interviews that are down, right down there. They get right down there for those interviews, and and now they're just like, saying congratulations and whatever. So yeah, maybe that moment just gets lost. Actually, someone mentioned in the Discord recently, why don't they broadcast the old 1, 2, 3 driver interviews anymore? The official sort of FIA ones, they don't really broadcast them anymore, which I was like, that's true.
Maybe because
you can't have everything.
You literally leave nothing for the journalists to say then, because if you've got the interviews post-race where you're speaking to the drivers, and then like the boring old press conference, that's for the the journos to ask the real hard-hitting questions. If you could be an animal, what animal would you be? Those kind of questions. Exactly. If you were going to be on a phone calling app, who would you want to call you? And is it Super License F1 Podcast, or Rod specifically from the Super License F1 Podcast? Of course.
Sure. And Zach.
What would be your hard-hitting question if you're in the post-race this weekend? Maybe that's a new segment that we could launch today. Like, what's the one thing you'd want to know and ask the drivers if you were in the post-race conference? If you were, or even the post-race asking the driver. I suppose, you know what? Let me completely make a tangent here instead of going down that line of thought. The one thing that is nice about having multiple drivers at the same table in a press conference is that they're all there together. Like, you get to see the reactions of each other, and like so many good moments are like one driver saying something and then the driver next to them being like, oh fuck, that's so dumb, or like, no, not true, or of course you'd say that, like reading the body language. But by separating them out, they're always just like, yeah, thanks to the fans, yeah, it was a tough race, we could have done more, or we won, so of course we did enough, I'd like to thank your team. It's just it's all just become a bit blah.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like maybe you want to almost get the drivers to ask each other questions. Like, Max, what question would you like to ask Lewis? That would be great.
This is, instead of giving a point for fastest lap, maybe you get yourself the honor of being the interviewer. If you get the fastest lap outside of the top 10, no, you don't get a point, but you do get to interview the people who finished on the podium.
10 seconds why did you hit me to your race time
at the start.
You can say whatever you want to that guy right now.
Yeah. Hey, maybe 6 races ago, when you cut me off, I didn't see the blue flags, okay? So shut up about it.
Yeah, please do shut up about it. Well, look, we'll come back to some more voice messages later, but there was a race. We should talk about it. There's more. There's 4 more. We need to get into the race. So we'll come back after the race review and we'll do a few more of those. But until then, let's get into the race review.
Let us race a bit. I gave him space.
Let's hurry up and get out of here. We've got a race to do.
For the Brazilian Grand Prix, I said before we started recording to Zach that I nearly watched quite a bit of the Mexican Grand Prix before realizing that was not the race for this week. But I did manage to watch all the Brazilian Grand Prix. And it was, there were thrills, there were spills, there were chills. And I'm going to try and recap the whole race, all the important happenings in just 30 seconds. Do you reckon I could do it?
You know what? 200 episodes. You've had a lot of practice by now. If you can't do it today, when?
Exactly. Well, the real adjudicator will be this time clock right here, which I'm going to start, and I'm going to recap the whole race in 30 seconds. Here we go. Amazing race from Lewis Hamilton, who had everything thrown at him, even got pushed off the track, but he still rises to win. Closes the gap in the championship, keeps that alive. Some incidents, Zach. A few incidents here and there. Tsunoda, Stroll, other drivers, Norris getting involved, getting a bit of a puncture, feeling like he wanted to be involved in the race. But, really, the story was Lewis Hamilton just driving over the top of Max Verstappen. Had to do it multiple times, but he got the move done.
Yeah, that was my favourite part, when Lewis Hamilton drove straight over the top of Max Verstappen.
Straight over the top.
The jump, actually. Yeah, he got the jump on him at the jump part of the Brazilian track that they've added. Not only have they got rid of those sleeping policeman style boulder things on the side, they've added jumps to make it much easier for Lewis Hamilton post DRS zone to just jump straight over. He didn't get it quite right, did have to drive over Verstappen as you described, but a good move nonetheless.
Verstappen tried it in Monza, but he got it all wrong and they both went up out of the race. That's not how you do it. You do it Hamilton style. Yes. I think there's a few things to call out about this. Obviously, there was the sprint race, and after taking quote unquote pole on Friday, still trying to get my head around this. Lewis Hamilton is disqualified. He has to start the sprint race from the back, from which he drives from last up to 5th, and then he gets a 5-place grid drop for an engine penalty. He starts in 10th, and then overtakes everybody to win. Effectively, he pulled off 25 overtakes over the course of one race. There's only 20 cars to win. I mean, who says Formula One is too complicated, huh? It's easy.
Yeah, he gets a 5-lap head start at the next race, I think, because he made so many overtakes. So he's in credit.
He also, this was my favorite thing, gets disqualified from qualifying, gets an engine drop. Then there's the incident, which nothing happens, and we'll get into that. But then after the race, because he took his belt off, he got fined for removing his belt on the slowdown lap. So he really absolutely had everything thrown at him. But I mean, I think a good result
this weekend
overall.
Right?
Yes,
like
that's true.
If you're going to have a cheat day, have a whole cheat weekend. Just really go for it.
I think that this race we saw, I mean, you can see with Hamilton taking pole on the Friday that he had the fastest car. Not necessarily that Mercedes had the fastest car, but the combination of that car and him equaled fastest. And he had the pace, and he was always going to catch Verstappen if he was within catching distance. This is sort of the opposite scenario that we had from last race, where clearly Verstappen was in the fastest car, and at some point he was going to chase down Mercedes, even if they started ahead. He was going to, at some point, drive over the top of them, except that he got it done on the first corner. But this race, we got to watch it unfold slowly, and it was the highlight of the race, in a race without many highlights. But I mean, I think that was what kept you hanging on if you're a diehard punter wanting to watch the championship remain alive. It's been on life support the last few weeks, but it's still alive.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it is still alive, but it's only 6 points, and so you kind of go, well, how is it? Is like, I suppose it's just a stay of execution, you might say, right? It's just like, okay, a little bit more. That's kind of it. What are we looking at? We got 14 points, the difference. What was it before this weekend? 18, something like that?
Yeah, but when Verstappen was running in the lead, they were like, well, here's where it's going to play out if everyone stays where they are.
That's true.
It's going to be like nearly 30
right?
points. So, I mean, that's
You're
bad news if you want to have an exciting, how many trillions and trillions of results there could be, and how many of them alternate universes where Max Verstappen just cruises to a victory. It's
highlight of my race was an imagined highlight. Was just as Hamilton was catching up to Verstappen, my groceries, my online shopping was being delivered. So the buzzer rang a full hour earlier than the slated slot, which you're usually not too upset about, right? You know, on a Sunday, we've moved our Sunday slot later because recently they've been coming an hour early every time because people must just be like, who cancels their food delivery anyway? It can be a bit disruptive on a Sunday because you're out doing things. Then you get a call like, hey, I'm around the corner. You're an hour and a half early. But you know what?
Yeah, I had a good run with the lights. It's not an easy job. Yeah,
exactly. Good run with the it was green all the way down from Stevenage.
Incredible.
Yeah, so the buzzer rang, and I'm in a little set of flats. So I leave our internal front door open and go down the stairs, down to the front door where the delivery is. And as I'm doing it in one load, right? I'm a big guy. I'm a big strong man, and I take all of the shopping bags. I'm Formula Man. All in one go, because I don't want to go up and down the stairs multiple times. I just got them all. And as I'm climbing the last flight of stairs, I make it sound like there's 50 flights. There's 3. So I'm climbing those 2.
It's 1.5.
And I can hear, it's 6 steps. No, I can hear.
You could jump it up on a skateboard. You could just kick an ollie and you'd be up the top.
Exactly. A younger man or person would just be able to ollie straight up there. I can hear.
It's the ground floor.
This doesn't warrant this many interruptions. I can hear David Croft on the commentary being like, and I'm like, oh my God, they've definitely had a crash. This is amazing. I'm going to get upstairs and they're both going to be off the track. There'll be smoke billowing out of the back of Verstappen's car.
Hamilton will have explosions. And,
it'll be or even if they've just taken each other out and there's no big crash, as long as they're both out, that would be amazing. Or one of them's not. This is what it's going to be. And it was literally that, Verstappen pushed Hamilton a little bit wide and they both went off the track a little bit. It was, so the imagined highlight I still feel like in 5 years' time, when we look back, I remember when the title race was pretty much decided at Brazil in 2021. And in my mind, I'm going to remember this imagined thing that like Verstappen drove into the side of Hamilton or vice versa. And it's not going to be that. It's going to be this little thing.
We'll be watching Drive to Survive next year. And you'll be like, Rod, it's really weird that they cut out that bit where they like smashed into each other and the cars broke in half.
Hamilton tried to jump Verstappen.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's interesting. I mean, there was a little bit of something in your voice there that made me suggest also that you maybe didn't think that much of the move. Like you didn't think it was a big deal.
I don't think it's a big deal, but I think it's pretty obvious what happened. That Verstappen definitely just went like, well, I'm not going to make the corner and you're on the outside, so what are you going to do?
So yeah, I'm going to put you out there.
Yeah.
I think a lot was made on the commentary in particular to say we have to watch the onboard. We have to see what happens with the steering wheel, whether he turns. I'm like, who cares? Who cares what he did? I mean, it's obvious. You don't need to see the replay to see that he's like, you can watch him like trying to take the thing and then he opens it up and he moves a little bit to the side. And I mean, at the end of the day, you don't need to. I just don't. They kept going on for about 15 minutes going, we really need to see that onboard. It was even like asked of Michael Masi after the race, like, hey, did you watch the onboard to see if he moved the steering wheel when you were investigating? He was like, nope, actually didn't get that. Would have been nice to see that, but no, I'm pretty sure we have an idea what he was doing. I wanted to get into the pleas from the teams to Michael Masi. Obviously, Mercedes were saying they were very much engaging sarcastic mode, which a lot of people have been doing lately. They're like, so you can just drive us off the road now? Can you do that? Can you do that?
Well, they know Michael Masi's Australian, right? We love sarcasm.
It's true. People think we don't get it, but it's not true. Yeah. Red Bull's defense was essentially like, it's, like it's just good racing. It's just Marbo. It's the vibe. Just let him go, man. Don't even worry about it.
They read Michael Masi again there.
Yes, literally. Very much so. And then Michael Masi, he fell for it. And I was like, that's your defense? Let them race? Like, that's not what you say. Surely you've got something else you want to email him or a diagram or something, but no.
Jump on MS Paint, right? And send him something. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I don't know. Let's just cut to the chase here. What do you reckon? What was your call?
I was surprised. I was surprised that they didn't give him a penalty, but at the same time, I don't care. I just don't care. The thing is for me that
apathy was your response.
The cars didn't even touch. Like I say, Hamilton just had another go, drove straight past him. They gave him a penalty. Of all things they gave him a warning for, they were like, don't swerve down the straight, please. And he was like, okay.
All right,
like,
fine.
Really? A warning for that? Not for running another car off the drive? Everyone is like falling over themselves to find other examples like, but what about this one from Austria where this guy runs that guy off and he's on the outside? It's the same thing. And it's like, who cares? Also, there was the first lap incident. I mentioned it in the 30-second recap. Tsunoda and Stroll. And what did old mate Crofty say about that one? I think he was entitled to close the door there. Well, how come Verstappen's not entitled to close the door? Huh? I know he's on the outside and the inside, all these stupid racing rules, but it's like, are you allowed to race each other or not? That's what it comes down to. Even Hamilton post-race was like, it was hard, but I wouldn't expect anything less. So he didn't seem like he had a problem with it.
Hamilton's like, yeah, I would have done exactly the same thing, and I have, and I will again.
He's leaving that door open for himself, isn't he? He's like, he's going to drive like that. That's fine. Guess where Max is going to end up next time he tries to overtake me around the outside.
Exactly. Well, they've both done it. They don't give those two. They're both in this funny position now where neither of them can afford a DNF. So I think it makes it look way worse.
Or even a penalty. Neither of them can even afford a penalty.
Yeah. So I think if this was let's say this was the second or third race of the season, I think Hamilton might have been like, oh, you just drove in. Like, I think Hamilton wouldn't have avoided him as much. I think Hamilton might have just been like, I'm just going to keep driving forward. If you want to like drive off the track into me, I'm already basically off the track anyway. If you're going to keep going sideways, then I guess we'll just crash. But now, Hamilton's avoiding him like the plague. Only very sure overtakes, and he's just like, I have to get this exactly right every single time. So I think it makes it look almost a little worse than it probably was, but not quite.
I know that you love when you're recording to wear your T-shirt that says "Ask me about blame versus fault," and I'm going to ask you a question that's already answered by your T-shirt, but. People were calling out this thing from a few races ago. I think it was. Who was it? I'm not even going to remember who it was now. Maybe Stroll was involved or someone was involved. But it was someone who got pushed off the... it was Perez versus I want to say Gasly. And one of the drivers got pushed off, and it was in the early laps when all the cars were still bunched up. So Perez got pushed off the track, and then by the time he rejoined, he'd already lost like 2 or 3 places, and the other driver got a penalty. So it's like, what? That one, penalty? How come that one and not this one? Duh. And then I think one of the problems with that is, again, fault versus blame. It's like, how do we provide justice here, which is there was an incident, one driver ended up four grid spots back. So it's only fair to rebalance the scales that we penalise the other driver. But in this case, literally the opposite happened. Literally Hamilton pulled right up again behind Verstappen and blasted right past him. So no harm, no foul. Let it go.
Yeah. This Formula One's in a tricky position here because they always invoke not always, but when it suits Formula One and the stewards and a rotating group of stewards, and it's always different in every race and blah, 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 blah. And every racetrack is different, and there's lots of different things that apply to each set of circumstances. So it's always situational. It makes it very difficult to compare circumstances. Well, when this happened in Austria, when Verstappen did this same thing on Stroll, it's like, well, I know they look exactly the same, but they aren't quite exactly the same. And even within the same race, it's like, well, at the start, it's just a racing incident. But at the end, it's not quite a racing incident. I feel like we got the opposite this week with the Tsunoda thing. It was like, well, you're going to put his car there, and the door kind of closed on him. Didn't really have anywhere else to go. Could he got out of the way? Could he have braked a little earlier? Maybe he shouldn't have been there, but
is there a wall on the inside of that corner? I feel like there is. So he couldn't just go on the grass. I don't think he can. Anyway.
It happened really fast, though. And I'm always...
Yeah, it's true.
I think the drivers put a lot of trust in everybody else. Hamilton had a great start, and if you watch the onboard from him through the first set of corners, he stays pretty in the middle of the track. He goes around the inside. Inside at the start.
He starts on the left, he heads towards the middle, then ends up going around the outside and then coming back.
Of signs or something like that?
Sounds right.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, sounds right, doesn't it? But then
200
by the
episodes.
time he kind of, at the first corner though, he's kind of like, I'm not going to get on the apex because I don't really know where everybody else is. So I'm just kind of give myself room. And then by the time he feels pretty clear, then he starts getting on the racing line. And it's incredible that there aren't just incidents. It feels like there's an incident every first corner anyway, but it is kind of mad. And I think we saw that with I've invoked signs when I meant signs on the Norris side, which is that
yes,
the Norris going around the outside of signs at the start there with the barrier on the right-hand side, that's a good opportunity to go. I don't think Sainz even really knows he's there. So Sainz is like, well, I'm kind of clear. Maybe he does know. But Norris still had a little bit of room. And I think it was just like an unneeded thing, but I'm glad he tried it. But I have no sympathy for him, if that makes sense. And there was no penalties for that, was there? It was just racing incident, right?
Well, because he screwed himself. That was part of the reason for that.
Because he screwed himself.
It reminded me of 2 different things. Number one, a race where Ricciardo got off the line and then went over on the grass and then hit something and spun out and wrecked his car. And then everyone was like, what are you doing driving out there? It was Melbourne. Yeah, I think it was Melbourne.
Yeah, he took a drain cover.
It was like his first race at Renault or something, and everyone was like, what, is this your first race ever? And then the other one that it reminded me of, obviously, Sebastian Vettel, classic Vettel sweep in when it's too early. He's done that tons of times. Sometimes he gets his own teammates. And it was just like, that's too early, man. That's too early. I think maybe he was expecting that Sainz. You have to make split-second decisions. Do I go left or right? Just pick one. I think he decided to go right, potentially because he knew that Sainz had got a poor start and thought, I know what Sainz is going to do. He's going to cover the inside, so I'll go the outside. Maybe it was that. And then maybe he thought he'd already gone further inside than he had when he hadn't.
Well, I don't know. Stuck, it was right? Once you decide, he's like, well, shit, I've got the wall on this side and I've got a Ferrari on my left. Really got nowhere else to go. So I guess I could slow down. But I think, by the time you've even thought all of that through, you're into the third corner at this stage, so... I
think also keen to get back on the asphalt, clean his tyres up before that first corner a little bit as well, but just not a very good move from Norris. And it really wasn't a great race from McLaren. Old mate Daniel Ricciardo had to retire with I think there was a split in his chassis that caused some temperature issues or something like that. He had to retire late in the race, and obviously a pretty good race if you're Ferrari, finishing with a nice, probably the best points all they could expect. But to see McLaren struggle, they were really licking their lips and going, yes, we're back in the top 3, buddy.
Oh, sorry, you caught me mid-yawn there.
Oh, geez.
don't know.
You think I would
Yeah.
know? I can't see you,
Jeez,
but you think I
can't
would
see me.
have just had that sense that
Well-
Zach's yawning. I'll just add a few extra words here. Sorry, man.
After a special, I mean, it's the 200th numbered episode, but we've done countless bonuses. So I thought that maybe our
That's
telepathic link was stronger than it is. Haven't got that switch turned on Discord. Obviously, the telepathic link.
We'll work on that.
It's tough for McLaren because there was a little phase in the middle of the season there where I was like, oh, you can finish third in the old championship, the constructors.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty nice. And Ferrari I feel like Leclerc and Sainz. If you told me they finished 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th every single race this season, I believe you in that order. Leclerc and Sainz, there they are, 6 and 7, just every single race.
Huh.
It feels like they've been doing that all season long. I mean, good on them, but they're stuck in this, like, they're always at the front of the middle, but 5 and 6 this week. I feel like I don't really see them, or I definitely feel like I don't see Charles Leclerc. I see Sainz. Sainz is always battling someone. He's always got someone behind him, or he's always making fuss. He makes a real meal of every single race. But Leclerc, I don't even.
That's
if
true.
you told me he wasn't even there this weekend, I would have believed you. He said a nothing season.
Yeah, it could be like, what do you think of Leclerc's mustache? You'd be like, he has a mustache? I haven't seen him for 6 months. I haven't seen
What do you think of the
what do you
bright
think about his
green
mullet?
stripe on Leclerc's car? I don't even
Yeah.
know.
The swastika tattoo on his forehead's a bit much. Like, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen any of this. It just doesn't. He's there in name only, as far as I'm concerned. He's like a
Who changed
ghost
his name
in the
to
Formula
Leclerc
1
Charles?
game.
Didn't even know.
Very good. Well, yeah.
Yeah, Gasly.
Yeah, okay.
Shout out for him. I was looking at the standings from the race again. Another outstanding performance. Didn't finish on the lead lap. That's a bit sad, but that doesn't happen on races like this where the lap times are really, really, really short.
True.
Gasly just doing it for himself and for the kids. I'd be like, I know maybe this is a good one for the end of the season, but Pierre Gasly,
Okay.
right? What is his? What he's had a redemption arc so early in his season. He's how old is he? Do you want to guess how old Pierre Gasly is?
Yes, I do. 20?
Go on. Mm-hmm.
7.
No, I thought he was more like 24, but he is 25.
Okay.
Still got a lot of time ahead of him. He could have another failure and redemption arc. Still, he could have 2 more of those in his career at this
Very
point.
true. Perez style.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe we'll visit him in the season roundup.
Oh.
Maybe he'll win an award or something. So
Speaking of ages, and we didn't mention this, even though we heard his voice before, he was on the show, friend of the show now, Christian Horner. Happy birthday. I think he's 40. Well, do you want to guess how old he is?
surely he's 48. I'm
48. I
surprised
think
that it
he
was
is 48.
Really?
I think he's actually 48.
Feels
Yeah.
right.
He's not. That's not much older than me. So I mean, we've achieved about the same things. Some people say. Really
I feel like
smart
late
people.
40s. Stupidly in my mind, late 40s always feel older than early 50s. Like, late 40s, you're a real old person. But when you're 50, you're a young old person, not an old young person. Does that make sense?
Wow, it does, but it doesn't. It's like, I don't know. It's like watching someone solve a Rubik's Cube. Like, I don't know how you did that, but I just saw it with my own eyes. So I guess it happened.
I think it's the steak restaurant thing, right? If you go into a steak dedicated restaurant, get the cheapest steak on the menu because all the steaks are good. But if you're going to a non-steak dedicated restaurant, and you want steak, get the best one because they're not dedicated to steak. So that's probably the only good one available is the best one. And that's what it feels like with you know what I mean? Your late 40s because you're the oldest of the young people there. I think you want to be in your young 50s because you're the youngest of the old people.
Sounds like a pretty good call to me.
Yeah.
Only other bit of excitement or interest or intrigue was the chase for fastest lap. They love to point out that you get a bonus point for this on the commentary. They love it. Like lap 27. Verstappen's got the bonus point for it. I was like, settle down. Jeez. Ended up going to Perez, who pitted late. He was the only one in the position to pit late without jeopardizing his standing, and he claimed it. So good on him, I guess. Good on Red Bull, and that's nice.
What was the gap between him and good Verstappen have stopped and Bottas as well? No,
None of
can't
them
stop
cool.
Bottas.
Well, yeah. I mean,
No.
if any of them,
Yeah, Perez did. Yeah, okay.
if any of them had stopped, then the driver ahead could also have stopped on like the next lap. But if you're Perez or if you're Bottas and you're third, you're not going to stop. And then if Perez just goes, "I'll have third, thanks, thanks, you idiot."
Why don't we just get everybody who's in the top 10 to stop and just have a last lap showdown for the fastest lap? We should just all do that. Or do that
Yeah,
mid-race.
Come back on Monday.
Spice up the middle of the race.
Yeah. I didn't I didn't watch the sprint race, but I heard it was it 30 laps? It was some number of laps that I was like, that's too many laps.
But remember round Sao Paulo, this Autodromo in Sao Paulo, it's only like 1 minute and 8 seconds or something.
I still think it's a lot. I was thinking about making this my final thought this week, but I've come up with another one, so I can burn this one here. Our mate Lando Norris, we spoke about him before, Mr. Puncture, agrees with me that we should be doing on Saturday a 1-lap shootout that sets the order for the sprint race. He came out today saying, I think that's a good idea.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can see that. Like just before the sprint race?
Well,
when
a few
will it
hours
happen?
before.
Is it another session? Is it instead of free practice too?
I reckon you do it lunch and 2 beers before the sprint race.
Give everybody an opportunity to get to the toilet.
That's right.
Have a fag.
That's right. And then get your mate to run and get some fresh bevies, and you sit down, the sprint race, boom.
I like this.
But that's there. Just saying. Are we done talking about the race though?
Are we done here? Are we done? Yeah.
Before we get into fantasy focus,
unremarkable. It was unremarkable. I can't believe it that we just felt like we had the exact same race again. I could not believe it. 2 weekends in a row. I was just like, these short tracks where everyone is just 2.5 seconds apart. Why are we here again?
It's no good. There's one interesting thing, and then the rest of it is like,
you know what we didn't say in the news at the start? McLaren had to put out a statement saying like, hey, Audi didn't buy us. Stop saying they did. They definitely didn't buy us. We're always interested in people coming and chatting to us and building relationships, but they definitely didn't buy us. I'm like, bullshit. They definitely have. They're going to. You're just doing this for shareholders and stuff. They're about to buy you.
I guess. We'll see.
Yep.
Do you want to hear from someone of authority who works at McLaren? Special little voice message. Again, our 200th episode, we got some special voice messages. The one and only, the big zaddy, Zach Brown.
Yes.
Hey, Rod. Hey, Zach. Zach Brown speaking here. I just wanted to give you a quick call. It says here that you've reached 200 episodes of the Super License F1 podcast. So, congratulations. What an amazing, awesome achievement. And, boom, boom, boom. 200 episodes, that's incredible. I don't know if you guys are interested in, maybe talking some business. I've only got a few seconds, but McLaren's an amazing Formula One team. We're always looking to partner with amazing brands. So if you have any interest in providing any sponsorship for the team, that would be fantastic. But look, 200 episodes, an incredible achievement. I got to go now. Bye.
That's amazing.
Fun day. That's a lot of ice that he put in his glass there.
Yeah.
That's a big drink he's mixing.
Oh, of course. What if I said okay, Rod, let's scrape together €1,000.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of sponsorship do you think we could get of McLaren?
Could we even get a tweet for that?
A tweet? That's all. You think we just get a tweet? Not even like a little sticker on the car anywhere?
A tiny sticker somewhere, maybe. Wasn't there?
Sticker.
WTF1 got a logo on one of the cars once, I think.
Oh, of course they probably stole that idea
there's all
from
kinds
someone
of
who didn't.
You see the brands that are on there. Some of them you're like, oh, you're on there. Huh. But then there's other brands you're like, this
Splunk.
bloody rinky-dink operation. How did they
Pepe
get on
jeans?
there?
What?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really know.
I reckon.
I was going to say, would $1,000 even buy old used Formula One stuff on F1Authentics.com, let alone buy something like in a going concern that gets TV broadcast?
No, you better pick up a couple of wheel rim coffee tables for that. I think for $1,000.
Potentially, probably. Yeah. You want some more voice messages?
Yeah, mate.
Dealer's choice. Which one do you want first, Fernando Alonso or Mark Webber?
Oh, those were the other two guesses I had in my back pocket. I'm chalking those up as ding-dings, as wins. Let's give me the South African first.
Well, you stepped on the joke, but here we go.
Oh, no!
G'day, Zach. And Rod, obviously. Says here that you've reached 200 episodes of your podcast. Incredible achievement. As one fellow Aussie to another, just wanted to say a huge, heartfelt congratulations. Remarkable achievement that you've reached there. I just have to go. I have to I'd love to stay and talk, but I have to go and watch the Springbok. I have to go and watch the Rabbitohs. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
I don't know how the Springboks went this weekend, but I think Rabbitohs, they're finished, mate. There's no game for them to watch, so I think he might have been lying there.
Yeah, I think he was probably lying. Oh,
big thank you. Mark Webber, South Africa's favourite son, sending us a little message on our humble podcast. Can you believe it?
Can't believe that he has given the Twitter handle Aussie Grit to Oscar Piastri, as you mentioned at the start of the show. And now he's taken over Safa Grit, which is very odd.
Safa Grit.
It's dumb. It's dumb.
It's very good.
I'm out of jokes.
I appreciate
this is
it.
Episode 200.
No, I appreciate it.
Oh, good. Well, Fernando. I don't know. This will be very interesting.
Hello, Rod. Hello, Zach. Show 200 episodes, they fly by. They fly by. As fast as speeding through a chicane. I'm suddenly hungry. I don't know why. More episodes from you would be good. Like to see a little bit more funny talk and a bit more research done.
Oh, right.
Better,
Thanks.
sure. But yeah, look, all of the very best from your good friend, Fernando Alonso.
Wow,
good.
Big on the constructive criticism is Fernando.
I wasn't looking for notes, Fernando. But thank you so much.
But he has many. I've only got one.
Yeah.
What were you going to say about Fernando? You're one of your favourite drivers. I thought
a few.
Did he hit you in the right spot?
Instead of turning the spotlight on me, why don't you turn it on yourself, Fernando? Maybe a bit more, a little bit less spinning and more winning of world championships at Ferrari.
Yes.
How about that?
I'm reliably informed your car no longer has a GP2 engine. So, make with the championships, bud. Speaking of no nonsense, I've only got one left here. The none other than the rule maker, the rule breaker, the heartbreaker, the GM frequenter, Michael Masi.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Rod. Hi, Zach. Michael Masi here. Just got your email. I have some information from the stewards that I wanted to pass on. In answer to your question, no. Reaching 200 episodes does not qualify you for a gold medal. I don't think that's even a thing. Anyway, I will keep asking them about whether they can make that a gold medal for you, and I will email you back. Please do not come up to my office. I've only just gotten rid of the smell from last time. Thanks, bye.
He always sounds so nice when he's talking to the teams, and then when you're not like a prominent figure in the paddock, all of a sudden he's like Mr. Surly.
Yeah. That's it. That's true. I mean, he's always trying to pass things off as well, right? Like he doesn't want to do any work, it sounds like. He's always like, I'm not going to look into that any further, or that's not my job, or blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, mate, well, what is your job if that's the case? Because it sounds like a lot of shit isn't up to you. He's maybe just a glorified receptionist at this point. He's just handing on everyone's notes, spattering them all the cold callers away. He's like, nope, they don't work here anymore. Nope, you got the wrong number. Nope, that's not for me. I can't put you through.
He's in a meeting right now. Can I have him call you back?
Exactly. No, you can't have their direct line. If you were really friends with them, you would know their phone number. So why don't you just hit them up on the mobile? Huh?
Yeah. Still, I appreciate the thought. Fellow Aussie again, Michael Masi. I mean,
do you think any other podcast talks about Michael Masi? Do you think literally anything? Do you think he gets the most? Do you reckon is he getting Google alerts for our mentions because we're the only people talking about him?
There's only two podcasts. There's us and there's Mad for Masi. There's a new podcast, I think. It's just come up.
Not to be confused with Mad for Massa, because that's a different Formula One show.
It's a bit out of date, that one. Hasn't been updated in a while. Dead feed, 404 links. That's all the messages that I have. But look, thank you one and all to everybody who took the time. And, 200 episodes. I feel good.
So this app was called Phone, like F1, but if it was all one word and like
it's
okay,
if you go looking for it though, like you've got to scroll for a long way.
Yeah, page 5 of the Google results. It's new.
Actually, if you find it, give it a 5-star review. Help it out. Help give it a boost. Give it that old super license boost and help get that app up there because it's struggling. No one can even find it.
Only available on the Lithuanian App Store. It's you're gonna have to.
Well, I use the VPN, obviously.
Oh, yeah. We're not sponsored by any of those brands, but if they would like to sponsor us, sort out your situation with Sky Sports so I can watch it when I'm on holiday. And then you can sponsor me.
These are all good points.
Is it? It's not FONEIE or anything like that. It's definitely real. Phone.
Definitely real. F-O-N-E. It's easy to remember too. So it's like F1. Well, look, there's a few things that we have to do still. This Canadian club's really hitting the spot. We should check out the fantasy league, and then we should do a super quiz, and then we can finish this thing off. So let's get into fantasy. Let's go to the fantasy focus, and we'll have a look at how we've done.
Double up that
My
mic.
browser is it sounds very satisfying when I do it, when I'm talking to you. I noticed that the level's off a little bit in the real show and people don't quite get the joke. But anyway, let's look at the league. Or have you got the race or the league? Which one do you want to do?
I've got the race up right now.
Great. I'll do the league if you like.
Okay. Well, in third place for Race of Brazil, we have Caroline O'Donnell. That's the manager. But the team, Shakespeare's Spark Plugs. I read that as something slightly different a second ago, but Shakespeare's Spark Plugs, position number 3. I mean, great job, and has shifted up in the league rankings because of the great showing with 153 points. That's very good. In second place, which makes sense because it's 2 Seconds Ted from Glowing Rotors, which is just a great name overall. I love that name, good. 2 Seconds Ted. It's inspired. Maybe I'll do an Iron Chef joke for my team name next year. In second position with 167 points, amazing, and Tangelo Racing. No change in their league rank. However, their first position in this week's Brazil Grand Prix with 189 points. You know, I remember episode 189 so many episodes ago. Gee, we were much younger then. So congratulations, Tony Saint and Tangelo Racing.
Yeah, incredible. I have it on good authority that you and I have not moved so much around in the league, and I get the feeling that means we haven't done so well this race either. God. Just looking up what episode 189. You said 189, right?
Yeah, 189.
That was the Styrian/Steiermark GP.
Oh, of course.
That we covered on our show.
Yeah, of course.
Good one. Didn't go down as one of the classics. In the league, though, if you're looking towards the top 3, if you want to actually know about people who know what they're doing in Formula One fantasy, you want to look at third place holder, Hypothesis by manager Hypothesis, really making third place their own, putting a gap on the 4th place, Leclerc Dynamics. And then team number 2, Tangelo Racing by Tony Saint. Both of those drivers in second and third, seemingly premium members, which means, I don't want to say they're cheating, but they've got a little bit of help on their side, which, good luck to them. And then firming up as the league leader, Yucknut and French Ghastly by manager Flurge. It's really like most of the league is kind of settling down, but the gaps between these drivers or these players is just continuing on unabated. So that means a little bit of work to be done if you're going to chase anyone down. I do want to call out, though, in position 10, a lot of hustle by Kilogram 955, who has slipped 3 places but stays in the top 10. So I just want to encourage you to have a think about your picks. Make sure you get your bonus picks in. That's another good one. And make sure you stay in that top 10, buddy.
Got to stay in that top 10, buddy. You got to stay
in there.
Please,
we should really call out. People tune in to hear numbers from us. So you in the league, you are position number 64, unchanged this week. I am number 67, unchanged this week. I think there's nearly, 67 points difference between us. So I don't see me catching you, but you just never know.
I just want to break the 2,000 point mark. That's what I want to do. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'll probably do it. There's not very much left.
I think if you set your mind to it, you can just do it.
Yeah, I'm going to get right to it. Do you want to do a super quiz?
Yeah, let me get that button and then it'll play and we can do it.
We will accept a couple of questions. Should one only win one? Would one want to have won that one in round 1?
Can you repeat the question?
I have a question for you, Rod.
Yes.
If you were, this is not part of the quiz, I just started thinking about it. I was just thinking about it then. You know what they say, great presenters, right, should be able to do their presentation without the slide deck. You know, just in case, like the PowerPoint presentation or Google Slides, whatever you've got, if it doesn't work, the projector on the day doesn't work, you should be able to do a good presentation. That's what Merlin Mann always used to say. And I wonder if you and I could do the show, let's say those little interstitial bumpers, musical numbers between segments didn't work. Would you prefer to do the musical part or the voices part if we had to do them on the fly?
I mean, you know, Well, I don't know. Geez. I mean, I'd even struggle to remember some of them, especially the race one. There's like 5 different quotes in there. That one, not too bad. That's actually 2 different quotes stitched together. But I would go quotes on that one. I would go music on the other ones.
Fair enough. And I'll do the car on the intro and you can do the music.
Oh, nice.
That
sounds fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, you know what? We're a fair show and I think that's fair. Let me just move some windows around. I've got a quiz for you.
Great.
It's called the Half-Ass Quiz because we're going to have a look at episode 100 because we're doing episode 200.
Makes sense.
And it's 100 more, so that's half. And in true Super License style, here is the half-assed quiz. Does that sound okay to you?
I love it.
Yeah,
So
good.
Yep.
It wasn't half-assed because I had to organise the audio setup to make sure that I could play some audio, which I don't always do.
Effort went in.
Yeah, effort. Well, that's the half of the arse. That's the left cheek is involved here. So I'm going to ask you a quick question just to start things off. No audio on this one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions, 4 of which have little audio things that we're going to either listen to or play afterwards. So tell me, Rod, episode 100, what race did we cover in episode 100?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Oh, you've already checked, of course.
No, I haven't, I promise. I reckon it won't be a remarkable... Oh, give me a hint.
Do you want to give me... What do you want, the year or the region?
Region.
Okay, Europe. Just that region. There's not many races in Europe every year. Unlike the Middle East where we've got 60 races now next season. Europe only has a handful. Do you want one more hint?
Just a small one.
Okay. I went there.
Was it Monza?
No.
Okay. Austria.
I haven't been to that race.
You haven't been to that one? Singapore?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
especially
too many
because
guesses
Europe.
already.
Hungary. Hungary 2017. Hungary 2017. That's okay, Rod. It was funny. I was listening to that episode. I was like, did I go? I'm sure I went to this race. And we didn't talk about it until like the last 5 minutes of the episode.
Oh, no.
Very odd. Yeah, that's okay.
I feel like
cool.
I remember only that it was not a remarkable... It wasn't like, wow, 100 and it's the Monaco Grand Prix. Incredible. I just remember it was not not a prestige event.
No, we've got to time them better
Hungary.
next time, right? Yeah, I mean, what are we going to remember this one? 200? Wow, the Brazilian Grand Prix where nothing happened. And yet, an hour of podcast. So, Rod, question number 2. Which Apple employee did you apologise to for us swearing on the show?
2017. I'll go Tim Cook.
Yes, ding, ding, ding. Let's go to the tape.
Oh,
That one day that he was saying bitch, maybe? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Something
that sounds like us. Oh, explicit tag.
Yeah, that sounds right. Oh, whoops, sorry, sorry, Tim Cook. I apologize.
I apologize.
Zach, it's time to talk. I apologize. Oh, jeez, typical puns.
Yep, that's classic us, right? Typical fun pun joke. And I don't know if there's any other Formula One podcast that would know the CEO of Apple and call him out on an episode. So well done to you.
It's Crazy for Cook, but that's the only other one.
Crazy for Cook. You'd think it was a cooking show. Tim Cook cooks. I'd watch that. I'd watch that Netflix series.
Cooking time, but it's not about cooking. It's time for Tim Cook. It's Tim Cook, time cook. Get it?
You know what? I get it.
You know what? I did get it.
But does anybody else? Oh, all right. Turns out this... I'm just going to organise the next audio clip. Here we go. The next question is... Which of us described Jolyon Palmer as a bad news driver? Was it me or was it you? A bad news driver, Jolyon Palmer.
Bad news driver. I reckon you.
Okay, here we go.
You say you don't think he'll replace Palmer. I wasn't so sure until recently. But obviously, again, you say that Renault doesn't want the bad news story of replacing Palmer mid-season. Having said that, if any driver typifies a bad news story, it's Jolyon Palmer.
So yeah, it was you, unfortunately. Bad news driver. Or bad news guy. I can't believe you're being so mean to Jolyon Palmer there.
Look, I didn't know him the way I do now.
And how do you know him now? Do you think he's still bad news?
I know that he's... I've come to learn that news-wise, he's middle of the road.
He's just unremarkable. I'd forgotten that he was even involved, I suppose, in Formula One, which, you know what? That happens sometimes, not a bad thing. Are you ready for question number 4?
Boy, I hope it embarrasses me in some way. That would be great.
Well,
Ready
you know
for
what?
that.
Episode 200, they broke up because they were being mean. No, I'm going to play you a clip and I'm going to ask you, who were you describing? So hopefully I've got the timing on this right.
Has and can't drive because he's too sick and too dizzy and completely dehydrated. There's not a single drop of water in his entire body. We need you to drive the car, Paul. So he's like,
Too sick, too dehydrated, not a single drop of moisture in his body. Rod. Who was it?
I can't even think.
And
Who
Paul
would
di
it
Resta
be?
replaced him.
Also, it was someone else, and Paul di Resta sat in for him.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, well, that's a dilly of a pickle.
Exactly.
Would it be, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is it Felipe Massa?
It's Felipe Massa. Well done,
Yes!
sir. Yes, what a pull. That was the only remarkable thing from the Hungarian Grand Prix was that Paul di Resta was there and was going to replace Martin Brundle because Martin Brundle wasn't feeling very well. And then Felipe Massa caught the same thing and they called up di Resta basically that morning and they were like, hey man, could you drive? Like, you're technically our reserve driver. And he was like, well, I'm here.
You're our good news driver.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bonus for me. I saw Paul di Resta's last race live, I'm pretty sure.
And little bonus for you, they asked you to
Yeah.
sit in with Crofty and commentate the race.
We rag on them. I think I know that it's much harder than it seems. But then I think about the fact that Nico Rosberg just hops in and does a good job, and so does Jenson Button. Maybe I could just do it. I talk about Formula One more than they do. So,
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I've got one more audio clip to play for you, and then I'm going to ask you, what was this clip in reference to? So here we go.
is in the suck my balls bit. So, I mean, I guarantee WTF1's producing shirts right now that say suck my balls. There's going to be suck my balls banners at the next race. At the end of the season.
What were you talking about there? A lot of balls called into effect there.
Bit of ball talk.
A lot of ball
Classic
talk.
segment. We should bring that back. This is Magnussen telling Hulkenberg to suck his balls.
Yes, you went into very big detail about the whole incident. And then,
Well, look, I mean, think about from now back to then. What's happened that's better than that?
Still nothing. There's, in fact, I could go find the clip, but essentially we were the big point of discussion for you and I was trying to work out if he said honey or man. Suck my balls, honey, or suck my balls, man. I think it's man, but I'm still undecided because honey is a better narrative.
Honey was the one that gained prominence on social media, but that's also like, hey, it's probably not that. Because why would he say honey? But then I guess why would he have said any of that stuff?
Yeah, why would he say suck my balls? I mean, it's great.
It's true.
I mean, maybe that's just his knee-jerk reaction. Maybe he goes that all the time. Well, Rod, we've come to the end with question number 6 of 6. Final question. What was the quiz that I did in episode 100?
Something about food. I think you're good on the puns with the hungry. You'd be like, hey, what food does Mark Webber eat when he's training? And what food is Nico Hulkenberg's favorite beside balls? Or, something about food.
Meatballs. Yum. No, it was the originator quiz, which was basically the same as this quiz, but looking at episode 1 instead of episode 1. That's what makes it so half-assed. Yeah.
You recycled your own quiz. I love it.
Well, you got to. We didn't get the opportunity to do a haiku quiz this year, so I went back into the archives and I tried to find something that would maybe tickle your fancy. And who doesn't want to hear themselves on their own podcast in audio quiz format? So that was the half-assed quiz. Hope you had a nice time.
It tickled my fancy, and it tickled my fancy. What did you think I was going to say?
I don't know. What are the other words that... Grancy? Chansey, the Pokemon? Who knows?
Sure. Well, Zach, it's only time left for final thoughts. I've already said that I've got one ready to go,
Yeah,
but
please.
I do want to leave the door open for you if you want to go first.
No. Slam the door shut. Stroll me.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but people are already asking Max Verstappen, Max, if you win the championship this year, you will have the right next year, if you wish, to put the number 1 on your car. Would you like to do that? And he said he would think about it. I think that would be good. We haven't had car number 1 for a long time because it's been held by Lewis Hamilton, won lots of championships, Team LH 44 doesn't like to put number 1 in his car. if there needs to be a silver lining, if you don't like Max Verstappen and you're like, well, hey, at least this good thing might come about from it, I would like to see car number 1 back on the grid. Nico Rosberg was the only person who had the opportunity to put it on his car, and then he went and retired. So whoops. But it could be time for that tradition to return. I would like to see it.
He did say in that same interview it's good for merch. I mean,
Verstappen said that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's stopping you from putting 1 and your name on your merch if you want to. Right?
There's a big case to be made that Lewis Hamilton is not putting 1 on his car for the same reason. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Why does everybody have double numbers? This isn't my final thought, but...
It is common, isn't it?
Yeah, 44 for Hamilton, 77 for Bottas. We got 33 for Max.
For
he really wanted
77
3,
for Bottas.
But Daniel already had it, and Daniel's older and bigger and bullied him out of it.
55 is Sainz as well.
Yeah, 55 for Sainz.
99 was Giovinazzi, although he just got 86. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, well.
Oh, we're good with numbers and we're good with jokes. Yeah, and I remember there used to not be a car number 13, and then as soon as they said, you can pick whatever number you want. I think it was Adrian Sutil, remember him? He was like, well, I'm going to be car number 13. It's like, what? Or was it Maldonado? Someone had number 13.
Well,
I think they were like, I'm going to make it the good luck number, and then
and they're like, well, no sponsors for you. No one's going to want to be associated with that.
That's very true.
Maybe we could sponsor that number, the 13 super license.
We would definitely be car number 13.
Yeah.
Zach, you've had time to stall. Have you got a final thought for us?
Hey, how did you? Why call me out? Why call me out on that? That's so mean.
That's true.
You brought it up earlier. My final thought was going to be the little tete-a-tete between Brundle and Croft on the who gets pole. There should be 2 poles. Don't call it pole because of their sprint races.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear this during the race commentary? No. Maybe it was pre-race. They were just talking about this, that we're going to have more sprint races next year. So maybe it was during qualifying. I can't remember because Brundle doesn't often do qualifying. Anyway, regardless, Brundle's firmly in the camp of there is only one pole sitter, and it's the guy who qualifies fastest. And David Croft is of the opinion that pole is the guy who starts first on the grid. Now, this is a common, ex-racer. He's not common, but a common thing you can imagine among ex-racers being like, well, no, that you get that's the award. Like, I was the fastest qualifier, so I got pole. But we already solved this problem because I think I agree with him by the current state of affairs, because sometimes someone will take pole and then get a penalty, and we say they're starting from the first position on the grid, but they didn't get pole, did they, Rod? No, they didn't. But Crofty's like, well, we should award pole. Just have 2 poles then. Have pole for qualifying and a pole for the sprint race. But we can't even call it a sprint race. It's sprint qualifying. I think they want to call it sprint race next year because that's what it is. But it's a shambles. And is it just more inside baseball, Rod? Are all of these terms just outdated and we don't even need to say that anymore and we could just leave it and it doesn't really matter? What do you think?
It is too confusing. It's definitely like, well, you could take pole on Friday, but you're taking pole for the sprint race, and then the sprint race, if you finish that first, then you will have pole for the real race. It's crap. It's crazy. I didn't get into this before, but the actual, the bit, when I said Norris agreed with me that there should be single lap racing and then a sprint race, the other bit that I excluded on purpose was the bit where he says, we should qualify on Friday. That's the order for the Sunday race. And then on the Saturday, we do a single lap qualifying and a sprint race, and it means nothing. Obviously, I did not include that because that's dumb. Why would you do that? Who would watch that? Why would you take any risks? There's 0 stakes. It's boring. I think you do have to have the sprint race setting the order for the real race. The problem is having another qualifying session is no good because of all these reasons that we're talking about. Were they talking about it because Hamilton got disqualified from qualifying? So therefore he took pole, but it wasn't really pole because he was actually disqualified from qualifying. Is that what we're saying?
I think maybe, but it might have also been that maybe Croft had said sprint qualifying or Brundle had said sprint race. Sprint race yesterday. And Croft was like, no, Martin, sprint qualifying, I'll have you know.
That's nice. Sprint qualifying, that's great.
And then they invoked the Ross Brawn said, if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, ducks like a duck, famously ducking all the time, ducks taste like a duck. It's probably a duck, so let's call it sprint qualifying. It's hard, Rod, Formula One. It's tough because history is a big part of what it is, but then also you want new people coming into the sport. You can't have all these vagaries. If you're going to fuck with the format, then you might have to fuck around with the things that you call things. I've made my decision though. Final verdict, John Hodgman style. Pole is the guy who starts first at the race. So pole is a position. It is pole position. It is the first spot on the grid. That should be pole. So you can get, regardless, like pole can be awarded in or not in either through a sprint race, sprint qualifying, or regular qualifying. But the guy who starts at the front of the grid in slot 1, that's pole position, and you are on pole, and you are starting from pole. Pole.
I kind of do agree. And I mean, we used to adopt that rule when we were awarding points for pole win and 10th and stuff. It was always whatever driver started first. That's pole, remember? So yeah.
100 races ago we did that. 100 episodes we're still doing predictions.
Yeah, there you go. So no, I mean, I do kind of agree, especially in the case of like if you get a penalty during qualifying, if you are disqualified from qualifying, then you didn't qualify fastest, did you? Because you didn't actually set a legitimate time. So you might be, your time might be the fastest, but it has to be declared legitimate. And if it's delegitimized for any reason, then you're not on pole, are you? Jeez. I think the problem comes in like, you have a carryover engine penalty from the previous race, or an infringement from the previous race. You're going to be dropped 5 grid spots. Did you still take pole this race? You sort of did. That's where it gets murky.
I mean, you might have taken pole, but you didn't keep pole. And you aren't on pole, and you're not starting from pole. You're just a guy who was fastest.
You weren't even born there. Born in the wrong country.
Exactly. You can take the reservation, but you can't hold the reservation. As a fun Seinfeld joke for you. I know you're a big Seinfeld fan. So
no, the opposite. I didn't know it was a Seinfeld reference, but I'll take
good stuff. I forgot about that.
I do hate good stuff.
Good stuff.
That's true. Well, my friend,
you want to end it, but we're going as long as we would in old shows. This is good. This is nice. More than 1 hour long episode. I think we've done very well.
We could easily go another half an hour. Actually, I wonder how long the longest show is. It must be nearly 2 hours long, the longest one. I think it's like 1 hour 40 something, the longest
Jeez. One. I think our end of season shows get long as well, when we do them with other people.
And absurd.
Yeah.
I guess we should work out what's going to happen with end of season because it's
Don't say it. Christmas ads are on the television. It's already...
Oh, my Christmas tree is up. We put it up on the weekend.
I saw this. Yeah, but you've got, young family. It's
just been a year and we just want a good thing.
Yeah. Is it a real one or a pretend one? I don't care either way. I'm just interested.
It's 100% bona fide pretend.
Lovely.
It's rigid artificial.
It's the way. It's the way to go. No allergic reactions or weird things from the pine.
Sure. And you know what? It's free forever.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You got a real one?
Well, after you. I had a real one last year. Little baby one, small one. It was okay. It's because we were going to be home for Christmas, right? Or like home as in the apartment. So I wanted to Christmas it up.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
buy it from the little
Merry Christmas, everybody. This has been our Christmas show. I guess there's another race in Qatar coming up. So this is the last of the triple header. Then we get a week off where we'll do a shakedown. Then we'll decide what we do the week after that because I'm not that keen to watch that race. But anyway, we'll work that out and let you know in advance. Make sure you follow us on Twitter if you want to stay up to date on all things Twitterverse. It's our super license. You could
me making fun of David Croft on Twitter. So he's my web nemesis, but I like him. Yeah.
Sure you do. There's a photo of you and him. Best buds.
Exactly.
If you want to visit our website, it's superlicense.fm. The FM stands for Zach.
Formula Men.
Absolutely. If you want to jump in the Discord, there's a tweet out there somewhere with a link. I can't do everything for you. I'll try and tweet another one for you. If you want to send us a message of congratulations for our 200th show, too late. And we already got lots of really good ones. But no, I mean, if anyone feels like they want to, I don't know, think about a good thing that we've done for them, time we made them smile or whatever, that'd be nice to hear just for us, just between us.
If there was ever a time to review us on the audio platform, podcasting store or whatever that you get us from, or maybe go to the Super License Club and chuck us a couple of bucks to keep the show lights on. You can't see the lights, but they're on because I can't podcast in the dark. That'd be weird. For me, personally, I need to keep track of the waveforms, make sure they're being recorded.
It would be weird for people outside too. What is that guy sitting in the dark and recording a podcast? That's weird. We have appearances we have to keep up.
Exactly. So leave us a review. Jump on the Patreon, have a look around. You'll get all the bonus episodes that we do, which is really good. Start getting primed for Drive to Survive Season 4. Is it? Wow. Dare to
Sure
swear,
is.
season 4 from us. Yes, please.
We'll see how that goes, but we were talking about maybe making it early access for Patreon subscribers as well, because we're being a bit light on for the bonuses in the Patreon world. But that's just because, you know, everyone deserves free stuff and good stuff right now. We try to put as much good stuff as we can out there, regardless of whether you can afford it or not. But for those who can afford it, maybe there's a small little bonus that we can offer there.
Yeah.
But
And sometimes Rod puts the bonus episodes in the wrong pipe, so they go on the internet in the wrong place.
I hate when I do that. I just have too many pipes in my life. I just can't keep track of them all.
It's that second podcast you've got that's confusing you.
Yeah. Is that all, Zach? Are we done for this week?
We're done. Get out. Leave.
See you next week. Practice your chords. Get your fingering down because we're going to guitar next. And then it's going to be... Fuck me. We can't go out on that. A new race, an interesting race. Everyone get on your F1 2021 game because I think they've just updated the track. So if you want to go check out the track, get the game.
Is it a
have a
Tilka?
play.
It better be a Tilka track. They're the
I
only
don't
ones
know
I
that
like.
it is. Maybe it's co-tilted.
Maybe you'll do a quiz on it and we'll find out.
Oh, there you go. Spoiler sizzle. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us for our 200th episode too. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, for our 201st episode, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
We'll see you on the other side. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Rod. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.